I'm going to share with you the single greatest piece of advice and the single greatest lesson that I have ever learned in my entire life. And this lesson I truly think is the key to unlocking every single thing that you want in this life. But let me start by talking about how I actually learned this lesson and what came about and why it was so profound at that time. So this was my very first ayahuasca retreat. This was almost 3 years ago at this point, and this was the second ceremony out of 3 ceremonies on this retreat. And so what happened during the ceremony is I drank the ayahuasca and I immediately felt this really uncomfortable pain in my stomach, and it was genuine pain. And so with the tools I had at the time, I was thinking, well, okay, I need to purge this out of me. Purging is part of the process with ayahuasca. And so once I purge this out of me, then I can really start having the experience and getting the downloads and all that stuff. And so I was just so focused on trying to relax and trying to just let myself purge. And I was so focused on that purge, and the pain just kept getting worse and worse, and I just was not able to purge it out of me at all. And so the facilitators came around and, he gave me a little bit, he gave me a sniff of ayahuasca. Sometimes that helps. That didn't do anything. He gave me some more ayahuasca, so I drank another cup. That didn't do anything. The pain just kept getting worse. And then told me to chug my water bottle. Basically gave me all of these tips to try to purge this thing out of me. And he knew what was going on. He's seen this a million times, so he was pretty much just humoring me. But either way, throughout the ceremony, I'm not seeing any visuals. I'm not feeling on ayahuasca at all. And the pain just kept getting worse and worse. And I kept on just thinking, how do I purge this thing out of me so I can have the experience? And it got to a point where I was stepping outside of the Maloka. I was leaning over the balcony. Facilitator was like, why don't you try putting a finger down your throat? Why don't you try smoking mapacho, which is sacred tobacco, and swallowing the smoke, see if that helps bring anything up. And none of these things worked. All it did was just make the pain worse and worse, to a point where it was just unbearable. And it was probably 4 or 5 hours into the ceremony at this point. The facilitator finally came over and he's like, what's going on? And I said, I'm so uncomfortable. I just want this to end. She's kicking my ass right now. She is in ayahuasca. And then he said, have you tried just sitting with the discomfort and just, rather than judging it as bad and wanting to get it out of you, just getting curious and asking why it's there? And essentially the advice that he gave in that, and to boil it down to just 4 words, is get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's it. It is as simple as that. That piece of advice, that lesson, is the key to unlocking everything that you want in this life. And I can talk about what happened after that. I went back to my mat and I, sat and just allowed myself to feel all the discomfort and feel the pain. And then, I finally had all these thoughts and stuff and was able to work through a lot at that point, which I can make a whole entire other video about. But it was that lesson of getting comfortable being uncomfortable that allowed me to unlock all of the other things that I was then able to get and all of the other downloads that I was able to receive. But it sounds so simple, and it is so simple, but when you really think about it and put it into practice, being uncomfortable is not a state that we are used to being in. And we're used to being able to feel discomfort and have something to take that discomfort away so we don't have to feel it. And we do it subconsciously, and I still do this too all the time. And in fact, the only reason I'm making this video is because this is something that I'm literally going through right now. For example, I have a lot of trouble just being bored and sitting in stillness. And part of the reason I came to Peru was to shut the fuck up and listen to all of the lessons that are coming in, rather than try to go seek them and go find them myself and just allow them to come to me. But that comes with sitting with the discomfort that's there, sitting with the discomfort of silence. And really, when is the last time that you allowed yourself to be truly uncomfortable? When's the last time you thought about your own death and thought about the fact that you are going to die one day, and really sit with that and feel what that feels like in your entire body, thinking about your own death? When's the last time you allowed yourself to just actually feel like a piece of shit? You did something that feels bad, and you just let yourself be you know what? I am a piece of shit. Maybe that's true. Sitting with these uncomfortable feelings of What if you are not the person that you think you are? What if you don't like the job that you're just constantly convincing yourself that you like because it looks good on paper and it pays a ton of money? What if you don't like the partner that you're with and you convince yourself that you do, so you stay in the relationship and don't end up actually doing the things that you want to do in your life because you're trying to convince yourself that you are comfortable, and you are trying to keep yourself in a comfortable place in order to not face the discomfort that's on the other side of that. But what you don't realize is that when you face that discomfort that's on the other side, it's not that bad and it doesn't last that long. But you have to face it with genuine curiosity and open arms, without trying to face it in order to make it go away, but just facing it for the sake of facing it and feeling the discomfort, feeling everything that is there, everything that's associated with it, without judgment, without thinking it's good or bad, because so often when you face discomfort, you probably judge it as a bad thing, which is why we subconsciously seek to make it stop. But what if that discomfort wasn't a bad thing? And what if all you needed to do was just sit with the discomfort, and then again, you'll see it's not that bad. Like, you'll get all of the lessons, and all of the things that you want, all of the answers that you seek are just on the other side of that discomfort, but you have to go through it. And I say this, the only constant in the universe is change. That's it. Our natural state of being is change, but change is inherently uncomfortable because it is the unknown. It's what the ego doesn't know. So the ego tries to keep us comfortable, and it tries to hold on to whatever it is that we have. Even if you don't like your circumstances, the ego is still trying to hold on to those things because that is comfort. It's what it knows. So we keep ourselves in these comfortable situations, and by doing that, we don't actually allow ourselves to change and to try new things and put ourselves in uncomfortable positions to see what might it be on the other side if we just really allowed that process to continue to happen. What might happen if you allow yourself to think the things that you don't want to be thinking because they're inherently uncomfortable? And so that lesson right there, getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, is the key to unlocking everything that you want in this world. So sit with the discomfort, allow it to be there, make friends with it even, and then watch all of the things that open up for you and all of the things that you start trying that you were too scared to try before because it was uncomfortable and you didn't want to be judged and all these other things. Like, who gives a fuck? We only have one life, so live it and be uncomfortable. So if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you want to dive a little bit deeper and really meet other people that are on this journey and that are asking these questions and talking about the human experience, check out my Patreon channel, which is my private community. We'll have like monthly group calls. I post these videos before I post them on YouTube, so you can have them a little bit early. It's just an opportunity to connect with other like-minded people. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you next video.